Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, and today I want to talk about a rumor news piece that popped up and just, well, we talked about it on the podcast, and I had a few kind of snide things to say about how people were handling this rumor. And in some ways, I want to double down on it a little bit, because the rumor is that we're going to be getting a champions team. And in the rumor, it was like, well, because the actors are getting older, do you really want to call them Young Avengers? And a lot of places wanting to get the clicks were making some comments about that. And I think it's worthwhile to talk about, one, yes, we do expect either Young Avengers or Champions to show up. They're basically similar teams. Now, not the same team, not always the same people crossing over, but there is certainly crossover. And Miss Marvel, who is heading up the team, seemingly in the MCU, has been on the Champions. I don't believe she's ever been on the Young Avengers. So, first off, let's talk about the Young Avengers side of things here. Because I think as fans, and if you're watching this video, you're at least somewhat like me, in that you're very invested in Marvel. You like to keep up on the news, the rumors, stuff like that. And I think it's worth noting that, yes, there have been rumors of Young Avengers, but only rumors ever. Nothing confirmed by Marvel. People were acting like in the posts, in the comments, that this is a big change. That this is Marvel pivoting in a different direction in some way. No, this concept, this wording of Young Avengers really has been driven by fans, and even with the rumors, it still has been driven by fans because we understand who they're introducing. We understand Patriot has been on the Young Avengers. Now, he's also been on the Champions. So we recognize that character. Kate Bishop, we recognize she's been on the Young Avengers. What we're ignoring is that Torres, who's going to be the new Falcon in Captain America Brave New World, he's been on the Champions. That was them introducing potentially another character for these teams. And I'd be 100% up for it. I like Torres' character a lot in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And so this idea that it was always going to be the Young Avengers and this is some sort of pivot isn't actually a thing. So I want to talk about that first, which I did. The next thing I want to talk about is there's talk about how this has changed to a show. Again, Marvel has never talked about officially in any capacity a show or a movie. It's all been rumors, and the rumors half the time have said, hey, it's going to be a show. Half the time it's like, hey, it's going to be a movie. I think there's been more fan speculation on the side that it's going to be a movie, but it's never been any sort of solid rumor, solid confirmation like, yes, they've got a writer who's coming in to pitch them an idea for a movie. And I personally like the fact that it's going to be a show, because I think there's a few really smart things they can do with it potentially being a show. If this current rumor is right. Remember, this is still just a rumor. If this current rumor is right, okay, you have these characters, they age up. They can age up to the regular Avengers. They can age up to the movies. And by aging up to the movies, then they now get to be part of the big team, but also we've been given a chance to get to know these characters. And there will be a lot of people who will check out this show, especially if they can say this is a multi-season show. And that's the other thing I really like about it, is one of the complaints that people have had with phases 4, 5, and 6 is we didn't really have those capstone movies. Whether or not they ended a phase or it was just that team up movie within a phase, we don't have anything like Avengers Age of Ultron, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame. We had 4 team up movies, really 5 and 6, counting Captain America Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War. So we had 6 team up movies. We're going to have 3 in this phase, because 4, I guess, because Thunderbolts, Captain America Brave New World, Doomsday, and Secret Wars. You could argue 5 with Spider-Man No Way Home, but that one is its own kind of separate thing. You could also argue 5 with Deadpool and Wolverine, but both of those were so very fan servicey that it's hard to quantify how likely we are to see them. So I think people want more consistent team up. A good way to do that is give us a television team up show, especially for moving into the mutants. You can spend and you can do Avengers type stuff in a Young Avengers, in a Champions, I'll refer to it as Champions from here on out, TV show. And like I said, you can have characters age up and age out of it. You can also have characters, like the most popular characters, they can hit up movies. There can be crossover. You can see all the characters in a movie, maybe focusing on, like I said, those most popular ones. And if they do well, they're brought into the Avengers. Even if they're not really aged out of the Champions, they're brought onto the Avengers team, and now you fill that with new characters. It gives you a great ground to keep on introducing new, younger heroes into the MCU. And sure, there are going to be some characters that people really want. Miles Morales is part of the Champions team currently in the comics, I believe. And so, or whatever the most recent version of the Champions team was. And so people would, of course, want to see a character like Miles Morales in there. Is he too big? I think he might be. I think he might need to just move straight to the main MCU. But it gives you a chance to show off other characters. As X-Men characters come in, younger ones like Kitty Pryde, characters even like Psylocke, or I mean, if you wanted to do a younger Iceman, you could bring in those mutant characters to the Champions as well. I'm trying to think other characters. I mean, there's so many different Marvel characters. If you wanted to do a slightly older Moon Girl, there's a chance to bring her in to that team. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Squirrel Girl, another character who you could really pick and choose random characters to add to it, who maybe show up for a couple seasons. If they're not that popular, you drop them. Or if Marvel's thinking it's not that exciting a character that we're going to continue to build, we've told the story we wanted, we can have them go off to do their own thing at that point. Bring them back for a cameo later if you want, whatever. But I think both of these moves, moving from potentially the Young Avengers title, I think that's a good move. I think Champions works better, and you can still do all the Young Avengers storylines. And I think a TV show works better. I've been a proponent of that for quite a while, because, well, I do love all these characters. I want to see Miss Marvel on the big screen every chance that I get. That's an awesome character. and portrayal of that character. But at the same time, I understand that something like the Champions is going to be built, could be built so well for television. And like I said, that chance to test out characters, introduce new characters, and bring characters up to the quote unquote main roster of the movies when the time's right, or for those big event sort of movies. Let me know your thoughts on this change. Do you think that there's either way that works better, or does it really matter? Because, again, just to clarify my opinion, I don't think it matters if it's Young Avengers or Champions. Are you super gung-ho that it has to be called Young Avengers? They could still do that. I mean, most of the Avengers are what, 30s, 40s? 20s is still younger than the regular Avengers. Or is it fine if it's the Champions? And they just tell the same stories and combine the stories across both those comics into something. But yeah, like I said, let me know your thoughts on that down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this content, please give the video a thumbs up. We really do appreciate that. Also, check out kind of our conversation on the Champions and Young Avengers on the 10-Minute Marvel podcast. You can find that episode. It's part of the highlights of 2024 episode in the news and rumors section of that episode. You can find that here on YouTube. Click onto the channel, subscribe, please, if you wouldn't mind. We really do appreciate everybody who has subscribed to the channel. And then click on the podcast tab. Or you can find 10-Minute Marvel, search for that wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcasts from. But with that, see you next time.